Jordan Peterson, How to Remember Everything You Read. Jordan Peterson, a well-known psychologist and author, often emphasizes the importance of understanding and integrating what we read rather than just passively consuming information. Though he may not have a specific method solely focused on remembering everything, his advice tends to revolve around deeper cognitive processes like active engagement is a reading strategy that involves being mentally present and critically interacting with the text rather than passively consuming it. This method promotes better understanding and memory retention. Here's how to practice active engagement while reading. 1. Ask questions. As you read, continuously ask yourself questions like, what is the main idea of this section? How does this relate to what I already know? What is the author trying to convey here? This forces you to think critically and stay engaged with the material. 2. Highlight and annotate. Mark important sections, underline key concepts, and write notes or comment in the margins if possible. This physical interaction with the text helps reinforce what you are reading. Jot down your thoughts, questions, and observations as you go. 3. Summarize key points. After finishing a section, pause and summarize the main ideas in your own words. You can do this mentally, in a notebook, or even out loud. Summarization helps consolidate information. 4. Make connections. Relate what you're reading to other knowledge you already have. This could be information from previous readings, personal experiences, or even other subjects you're familiar with. Making connections helps contextualize new information, making it easier to remember. 5. Visualize. Create mental images of the concepts or scenarios being described in the text. Visualization makes abstract ideas more concrete and memorable. 6. Teach the material. Imagine explaining the material to someone else or actually try teaching it. When you teach something, you have to understand it deeply, which forces you to engage actively with the content. 7. Predict and hypothesize. Try to predict what will come next in the text or hypothesize about outcomes based on what you've read so far. This keeps your brain active and invested in the material. 8. Challenge the ideas. Don't just accept everything the author says. Critically evaluate the arguments or points being made. Do you agree? Why or why not? This critical analysis helps deepen your understanding. By actively engaging with the text in these ways, you'll not only improve your comprehension, but also enhance your ability to recall and apply what you've read. Personal relevance is a powerful tool for enhancing memory and understanding when reading. The idea is that when something is meaningful or connected to your own experiences, it becomes easier to remember and internalize. Here's how you can use personal relevance to improve your retention of information. 1. Relate the material to your own life. As you read, think about how the content applies to your own experiences or current situation. Ask yourself, how does this idea or concept fit into my life? Have I experienced something similar? Can I use this knowledge in my daily activities or future goals? By connecting the material to your own life, you create a personal context that makes it more memorable. 2. Identify emotional connections. Engage emotionally with the content. Consider how the ideas make you feel, whether they resonate with your values or challenge your beliefs. Emotional reactions create stronger memories. For example, if the reading discusses overcoming challenges, think about your own challenges and how the material might inspire or guide you. 3. Use examples from your own experience. When the text provides abstract concepts, try to come up with concrete examples from your life that illustrate those concepts. If you're reading about leadership, think of situations where you had to lead or witnessed effective leadership. Personal examples anchor abstract ideas in reality. 4. Set personal goals related to the reading. Identify how the information can help you achieve your personal or professional goals. When you see how the material can be useful in the future, it becomes more relevant and easier to remember. For example, if you're reading about time management, think about how you can apply those strategies to improve your own productivity. 5. Engage in self-reflection. After reading, reflect on how the information changes your perspective or understanding of a topic. How does it challenge your existing knowledge or confirm what you already know? Self-reflection helps you internalize the material by making it part of your thought process and worldview. 6. Discuss the material with others. Share what you've learned with others in conversations, focusing on how it applies to your life or theirs. Discussions that highlight personal relevance make the material more memorable for both you and the listener. 7. Keep a journal. Write down your reflections on the reading and how it applies to your personal life. This practice not only reinforces the material but also creates a written record that you can refer back to later. Writing helps consolidate ideas and encourages you to explore the personal significance of what you've read. 8. Frame the information in terms of your identity. Consider how the knowledge you're gaining aligns with your personal identity or how it helps shape who you want to be. For instance, if you're reading about personal development, think about how the material supports your growth as an individual or professional. By tying the information to your own experiences, emotions, and goals, you make the material personally meaningful, which significantly enhances your ability to remember it. Summarization and repetition are powerful strategies for retaining information and improving comprehension. They work by reinforcing what you've learned and helping to move it from short-term to long-term memory. Here's how to effectively use these techniques. 1. Summarization. Summarizing involves distilling the key points of what you've read into a concise version. This forces you to process the information actively and in your own words, which improves understanding and recall. Why it works. Summarizing requires you to engage with the material on a deeper level, identifying the core ideas and main arguments. It also helps you check your understanding, as you must distill complex information into a simple form. How to summarize. Identify key ideas. After reading a section, pause and ask yourself, what is the main point? Focus on the essential concepts rather than trying to include every detail. Use your own words. Rewrite the main ideas in your own language rather than copying sentences from the text. This makes you process the information more deeply. Keep it brief. Aim for a short paragraph or even a few sentences that capture the essence of what you've read. If you can summarize something in a concise form, it indicates a strong grasp of the material. Write or speak. You can either write down your summary or verbalize it. Both methods engage different cognitive processes that reinforce memory. Summarization techniques. Mind mapping. Create a visual map of the key ideas and how they connect to each other. Bullet points. List the main ideas as bullet points to capture the structure of the argument or narrative. One-sentence summary. Challenge yourself to summarize an entire chapter or article in just one sentence. 2. Repetition. Repetition is a key principle of memory consolidation. By revisiting information multiple times, you reinforce the neural pathways associated with that knowledge, making it easier to recall in the future. Why it works. The more times you expose yourself to the material, the more familiar it becomes, which strengthens your memory. Spaced repetition, in particular, takes advantage of the brain's natural forgetting curve, ensuring that information is reviewed at optimal intervals for long-term retention. How to use repetition. Immediate review. After summarizing a section, review your summary or notes shortly after reading. This reinforces what you've just learned while it's still fresh in your mind. Spaced repetition. Use spaced repetition techniques, where you review the material at increasing intervals, e.g., after a day, then a week, then a month. Apps like Anki or physical flashcards can help with this. Daily recaps. At the end of the day, briefly go over what you've read or learned. This repetition helps move the information from short-term to long-term memory. Periodic reviews. Set aside time every week or month to review important material. This helps keep the information accessible in your memory. Repetition techniques. Flashcards. Create flashcards with questions on one side and answers or summaries on the other. Regularly test yourself to reinforce the information. Teach the material. Explaining what you've learned to someone else is a form of repetition that deepens your understanding. Teaching forces you to revisit and restructure the information in a way that others can understand. Rewriting. After a few days, try rewriting your summaries or notes without looking at them. This challenges your memory and reinforces the key points. Combining summarization and repetition. Summarize regularly. After each chapter, article, or study session, create a summary. This serves as your first layer of repetition. Review summaries. Use spaced repetition to review your summaries. This repetition doesn't just reinforce individual points, but helps solidify the entire framework of what you've read. Test yourself. Periodically test yourself on the key points from your summaries. This active recall reinforces memory better than passive review. By using summarization and repetition together, you not only deepen your understanding of the material, but also ensure that the information is stored more securely in your long-term memory. Reflection is a critical component of learning and memory retention. It involves thinking deeply about what you've read and considering how it fits into your existing knowledge, beliefs, and experiences. Reflecting on material helps to reinforce understanding, internalize the content, and make it more personally meaningful, which in turn aids memory retention. Here's how you can use reflection effectively. 1. Pause and reflect. After reading a section or completing a piece of content, take a moment to pause and think about what you've just learned. Ask yourself questions like, what are the key ideas or takeaways from this? How does this information change or reinforce what I already know? What surprised me or stood out the most? Pausing to reflect forces you to process the information more deeply, improving retention. 2. Connect to prior knowledge. Reflect on how the new information connects to what you already know. Making these connections can help integrate the new material into your existing mental frameworks. Consider how the content fits into broader themes or topics you've studied. Does it challenge or support previous ideas you've encountered? By linking new ideas to familiar concepts, you create a mental web that makes recall easier and more intuitive. 3. Consider practical applications. Think about how you can apply what you've learned in real-life situations. Reflecting on practical applications makes the material more relevant and useful, which strengthens your memory of it. Ask yourself, how can I use this information in my personal or professional life? What changes can I make based on what I've learned? Applying knowledge is a form of reflection that deepens understanding and reinforces learning. 4. Challenge your assumptions. Reflect on how the new information challenges or confirms your assumptions or beliefs. Engaging with the material in this way encourages critical thinking and deeper cognitive processing. Ask yourself, did this content change my perspective on something? What new insights have I gained? How do my preconceptions compare to what I've learned? Challenging your assumptions helps you integrate new knowledge in a meaningful way, making it more memorable. 5. Summarize and analyze. Reflective writing or journaling is an excellent way to consolidate learning. After reading, try writing a summary that not only captures the main points, but also includes your personal analysis and thoughts on the material. Analyze the content. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the arguments presented? How well does the author support their claims? What implications does this information have for the broader topic or field? This reflective analysis encourages deeper engagement with the material, making it easier to remember. 6. Think about implications. Reflect on the broader implications of what you've learned. How might this information influence future developments in a field, societal issues, or your own personal growth? Consider the potential consequences or impacts of the ideas presented. By thinking about the big picture, you engage with the material on a higher level, reinforcing your understanding and retention. 7. Discuss with others. Engaging in discussions about what you've read is a form of reflection that deepens your understanding. When you articulate your thoughts and listen to others' perspectives, you reinforce your learning. Share your reflections in study groups, with friends, or in online forums. The process of verbalizing your thoughts and considering different viewpoints encourages deeper reflection and retention. 8. Set goals for future learning. Reflect on what you've learned and how it fits into your broader learning goals. Set specific objectives for how you will continue to build on this knowledge in the future. By linking new information to your future goals, you give it a sense of purpose, which helps anchor it in your memory. Ask yourself, what are the next steps I can take to expand on this knowledge? How can I incorporate this learning into my ongoing personal or professional development? 9. Meditative reflection. Spend some time quietly reflecting on what you've read in a meditative state. This can involve sitting quietly and letting your mind wander over the material, focusing on how it relates to your experiences, beliefs, or emotions. This calm, focused reflection can help integrate the knowledge into your long-term memory, especially when combined with other reflection techniques. Combining reflection with other strategies. Reflect after summarizing. Once you've summarized a section, take time to reflect on the broader significance of the material. This combination helps reinforce both your understanding and your memory. Incorporate reflection into repetition. During spaced repetition, reflect on how your understanding of the material has evolved over time. Revisiting your reflections adds depth to your review process. By reflecting on what you've read, you don't just remember the content. You integrate it into your broader understanding of the world, making it more meaningful and easier to recall in the future. Integrating new knowledge with existing knowledge is a powerful strategy for enhancing memory retention, understanding, and application. When you connect new information to what you already know, you create a richer mental framework that makes recall easier and deepens your comprehension. Here's how to effectively integrate new knowledge with existing knowledge. 1. Make connections. As you learn something new, actively search for connections between the new material and what you already know. This can involve linking new concepts to related topics, personal experiences, or familiar frameworks. Ask yourself, how does this new information relate to something I've already learned? Are there similar ideas, themes, or patterns that I can recognize? For example, if you're learning about a new psychological theory, consider how it aligns with or challenges previous theories you've studied. 2. Use analogies and metaphors. Analogies and metaphors help bridge new and existing knowledge by comparing unfamiliar concepts to something more familiar. This comparison makes the new information more accessible and easier to remember. Create analogies that relate new ideas to things you already understand. For example, if you're learning about a complex scientific concept, relate it to a simpler everyday experience. Analogies also help in explaining new ideas to others, reinforcing your own understanding. 3. Build mental models. A mental model is a framework or structure that helps you understand and organize information. By integrating new knowledge into existing mental models, you create a more cohesive understanding of the topic. For example, if you have a mental model for how ecosystems work, you can add new information about specific species or environmental factors to this framework, enriching your overall understanding of ecology. Continuously refine and expand your mental models as you learn new things, making them more detailed and interconnected. 4. Cross-disciplinary thinking. Look for ways to integrate knowledge from different fields. Cross-disciplinary thinking allows you to draw connections between seemingly unrelated subjects, which can lead to deeper insights and creativity. For instance, if you're learning about economics, think about how concepts like scarcity and resource allocation might apply to areas like biology, e.g., resource competition in ecosystems, or even personal decision-making. This broadens your perspective and enhances your ability to apply knowledge in diverse contexts. 5. Review and reflect on existing knowledge. Periodically review what you already know to see how new information can be integrated. Reflection on your existing knowledge helps you identify gaps and opportunities for deeper connections. Revisit previous notes, summaries, or knowledge maps, and think about how the new material fits into your broader understanding of the topic. 6. Apply new knowledge to existing problems. Use new information to solve problems or address challenges that you've encountered in the past. This application of knowledge reinforces both the new material and your existing understanding. For example, if you're learning a new problem-solving technique, try using it to tackle an issue you've struggled with before. Applying the new method in a familiar context strengthens the connection between the old and new knowledge. 7. Teach what you've learned. Teaching or explaining new concepts to others is a powerful way to integrate knowledge. When you teach, you have to organize the material in a way that makes sense, which forces you to blend new ideas with what you already know. Teaching also highlights gaps in your understanding, prompting you to think more deeply about how the new information fits with your prior knowledge. 8. Create concept maps. Concept maps are visual representations of ideas and their relationships. By creating concept maps, you can visually integrate new information with existing knowledge, showing how different ideas are connected. Start with a central concept and branch out to related ideas, drawing connections between them. This visual organization helps you see the big picture and how new knowledge fits into it. 9. Storytelling. Create stories or narratives that incorporate both new and existing knowledge. Storytelling makes information more relatable and easier to remember by placing it in a familiar context. For example, if you're learning about historical events, weave them into a broader narrative that includes other events or themes you already understand. This creates a cohesive storyline that helps reinforce memory. 10. Synthesize information. Synthesis involves combining different ideas to form a new understanding. When you synthesize new and existing knowledge, you create something greater than the sum of its parts. After learning new information, think about how it adds to or changes your overall understanding of the topic. What new insights emerge from combining old and new knowledge? Synthesis can lead to deeper comprehension and innovation as you create new ideas from the integration of different concepts. 11. Think in layers. Consider knowledge as layers that build on top of each other. When you learn something new, think of it as adding another layer to your existing foundation of knowledge. By conceptualizing learning as a layered process, you see how new information contributes to a more complex and nuanced understanding of the world. 12. Use technology for integration. Tools like digital note-taking apps, e.g., Notion, Evernote, or knowledge management systems, e.g., Obsidian, Rome Research, can help you integrate new and existing knowledge by allowing you to link ideas and create networks of information. These tools enable you to create a knowledge base that evolves over time, making it easier to connect new ideas with what you've already learned. By consciously integrating new knowledge with what you already know, you create a more robust understanding of the material, making it easier to remember and apply. This process strengthens your cognitive framework, leading to deeper insights and long-term retention. While these strategies don't guarantee you'll remember everything, they focus on deeper comprehension and retention rather than surface-level memorization.